Hey folks, welcome out there. End of the week. Can you believe it? Already Thursday, and it's Mathline time. You've tuned into the right place. I'm Ernie Roberts. I am your host for this afternoon session. We thank you for tuning in. We're glad to have you with us this afternoon. And you know what do we do here? Well, we let you call us, give us some questions, give us a problem, math, all those good things, and then we try to solve it together live here on the air. So there's a number floating at the bottom of your screen right now. 844-686-2378. Go ahead and get yourself in the queue. Get ready to be asked, or ask us, as the case will be. And we'll work that problem out together. But you got to give us a call. Our operator's waiting to take care of you. He'll take number, name, all that good stuff, and where you're from, and then we will talk about it live on the air, okay? Again, that number, 844-686-2378. And to get you all primed up and ready to go, it's a beautiful day outside. Hope you're inside with us, though. And let's look at our problem of the day. Says, if the scale of a model plane to a real plane with a length of 63 feet, it's a big plane, folks, is 1 to 72, what is the model's length in inches? Wow. Okay, now, obviously you don't want to rebuild that whole plane if it's a model, all right? So we've got the scaling of 1 to 72. We've got a length of 63, and this 1 to 72. Now what we want to do is get to the model, and we got it in inches. It's still going to be a pretty good sized model the way this is going to work out, it looks like. So just think in that regard, all right? So what are we doing? This has been a ratio week. By the way, we've had ratio and proportion throughout the whole week with our problems of the day. So this is going to go right back. We're going to play a proportion on this also. Now, let's look at a couple of ways to do this. First of all, I am going to talk about feet. You say, well, Ernie, you asked for inches. This is true. We're going to get to inches eventually. But first, we're going to set up a proportion that involves what we have here. And let's go back to what's happening here. We are having 1 to 72. Now, obviously, the model is going to be smaller. So this is going to be the model ratio. So we're going to do model to actual length. So we're going to pick up this 1 over 72 right over there. Nice little ratio. So we're talking about ratios this week. We're then going to put, well, what does the 63 go with? It goes with right here. It goes with the real plane. So we're doing model to, and we're going to put it right there. Now, what's going to happen here is we're going to get an amount of feet, because everything here has to do with feet. We're going to switch over and do inches here in just a second, all right? But there are a couple of ways to look at this. And by the way, Chip, Mark, you all are on it. You did well, got it in last night. And hopefully some others you're still getting around to getting to us today and all. So as we're going to go through the process, we are going to cross multiply. All right. So once again, remember, this is model to the exact length of the plane. And again, model to exact plane. All right. And it's a much bigger plane than it is the model. Okay. So let's cross multiply. See what we get. Cross multiplying here, I get 72x. Cross multiplying that way, I get 63. And some of you are already saying, Ernie, that's not even going to go in there, is it? Well, guess what? We're talking feet, right? So we're going to divide both sides by our 72. And we're going to see, what does that give us? Go to the calculator on this one. I don't want to do this one in my head either, and you all probably don't want to either. Let's go 63, and we got to divide it by 72. Be sure you put 63 in first. Then you divide by 72, and we get a nice little decimal, all right? So our x in this case is actually equal to, wow, pretty crazy, isn't it? 875 thousandths, right there it is, of a foot. So let's go now and figure out what are we going to do. Let's take that bottom out if we can, guys. And when we do that, this is in feet. Question asks for inches. So what are we going to do? We're going to take that 875 thousandths, okay? And we are going to do what with it? We are going to multiply by 12. Absolutely, because we got to get inches, right? What do you know? We have 1 foot equaling 12 inches. So let's take our little, if we can go there, back to the calculator. Let's take our 875 thousandths and multiply by 12. And we're going to take this puppy to inches, and life is good. It looks like 10 and a half. So I'm going to come back over here, and we're going to say, how about it? 10 and a half inches. So there we have it. We have our solution. Now, notice I drew the line down here because I said I want to take another look. So let's go back and look at our problem one more time here. We've got everything we need. We've got the parts there in feet and inches. But let's do this. Let's pick up, yes, you know I'm going to change things, aren't you, don't I? Let's go ahead and change them to inches right off the bat, because that's what some of you, I bet, did. In other words, you changed 63 feet into how many inches? Well, let's see real quick how much we're going to get. We are making this go back and forth today quite a bit, aren't we, on the calculator business? Let's see what we come up with when we multiply there. I'm getting 756, okay? And once again, we're going to take that 756 and we're going to put an X over it, okay? So the only difference here, folks, we had feet here, here we have inches. We're going to get the same result. I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. So let's cross multiply and see what happens. We're going to get 72X going one direction. We're going to get 756 going the other. And when we divide 756, here we go, that calculator again. We're going crazy, aren't we? 756, and we divide by 72. That's what happens when you get all these big numbers going here. We should have 10 and a half, and guess what? We have 10 and a half right there we go. So we're back to X equaling 10 and a half inches. So either way you do it, if you want to keep it in feet, you can do it. You just got to eventually transfer by 12, got to multiply by 12 to get from here to here. If you want to have the inches from the beginning, you've got to multiply earlier with the 12, with the 63 and the 12. But either way, guess what? You come out to problem of the day. And Chip and Mark, good job on that last night, all right? And folks, that's it for our problem of the day. How about it? And now it's time for you guys. Let's get some calls, all right? 844-686-2378. We definitely want to hear from you this afternoon. We had some great calls yesterday. In fact, one we're going to finish up for you today. And from Sydney in Sweetwater, we're going to go there here in just a second. But also, Alyssa gave us a nice call yesterday with some decimals. So I want to hear from folks today. We had Robbie earlier in the week with a, wow, sine waves, all sorts of trig function stuff. So there's always something out there of all ilks, all fun, all types of mathematics we're willing to tackle here on the air. We'll work it out together. But you got to give us that call, 844-686-2378. Last day of the week, last day for a live shot, last chance to talk and work a problem out together. But we hope you'll give us a call, all right? 844-686-2378. We are here to help you guys out. So let's go back to Sydney's problem from yesterday. And some of you may have wondered, what am I talking about? It was the very end of the show. We had a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes left. And it probably took me that long to get it and decipher through what are we trying to do with this problem. So got to be careful with it. And let's go back and refresh our memory. First things first, the total number of students in a school is 340, basically the storyline here. And she basically said 2/5 of the number of boys was equal to 4/7 of the number of girls. Kind of, not a kind of, it is a nice riddle there, all right? A good riddle. And the question is, how many of each gender, how many boys and how many girls did we end up with? And some of you are looking at that going like, whoa, that's got some thinking to do, doesn't it? Well, first of all, let's do a little bit of systems, all right? Because I see two things we're looking for. I'm going to play with X and Y here, all right? And if you want to use B and G for boys and girls, that's fine also. But I'm going to go with X and Y. We're going to let X equal the number of boys. I think we got this set up yesterday for those of you who are watching us. Those of you who aren't, we're going to work it out again today. And how about it for the number of girls? We'll let Y represent you guys. So that is the number of girls in this group. We know two things about. We know this crazy ratio. Wow, 2/5 of something equaling 4/7 of something else. And that we're going to work with a little bit. That's the hard part. The easy part is, how do we get a relationship with the 340? And first, our first basic moment here is going to be X plus Y equals 340. Okay? So there's one of your equations. By the way, you got to have two. If you got two variables, you got to have two equations to make them work. You've got to deal with that. Okay? So here's where we're going to go on this. We are going to look at what the second clue says. It says 2/5 of, well, how about it? How about it? 2/5 of X is equal to, are y'all ready for this one? Of course you're ready for it, right? 2/5 of X equals what? How about it? 4/7 4/7, I'm jumping the gun. Now I have a y, okay? So 4/7 and y sitting over there. So what are we going to do? I don't like those two fractions. 2/5, 4/7, they really just don't do very well together. So let's do this. Let's clean them up. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick a number that both of them will divide evenly into. And what we're going to do, we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by that number. And you say, what does that do? That will clean out my fractions completely. So I'm going to take a 35 and a 35 to both sides. Drop over 1. And all of a sudden, things begin to look a lot easier. I'm going to lose the 5 and the 35 here, make a 7 happen. I'm going to have 14x. On this side, I'm going to let the 7 and the 35 take care of themselves. And I've got 4 times 5. All right, I've got 7 goes divides into 35. Good old fractions, right, everybody? Fraction action. Here you go. And I've got 20y hanging on. Now, you say, okay, well, Ernie, that looks better, but it's still not very pretty because you've got really a relationship saying that 14x's is going to give us 20y's. That's not very easy to figure out yet, but we're going to get there. So why don't we do this? Select, we'll let the x get by itself, all right? I can get y by itself over here. I'm going to play substitution in this mess, okay? And you say, what does that mean, Ernie? That means we're going to subtract x and get y by itself, or subtract y and get x by itself. Let's go with x. So we're going to say x is equal to 340 minus y. Remember, you subtract y off this side, it disappears, but it's got up here over here. And now I have a great piece to go with substitution here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here into this other equation, and I see, oh yeah, I see where it wants to go. So it just says x equals. So we're going to go and replace the x with, you got it. I hope you got it. 340 minus y. Over on the other side, we still have 20y hanging out. And the hardest thing here at this point is going to be, you got big numbers. That's why we have a calculator. It will take good care of us. It will work great. Promise you that. Trust me on those things. So let's see what's going to happen when we say, first of all, 14 times, what is that? 340. That's the big question mark. We'll get rid of that other one there for a minute. How about it? We got 14, and we got to distribute. That's why we're going to say 14 times 340. Not the end all, but it's the start all. How's that? And I've got 4,760. Now this next part we can do pretty easily. We just got to remember, we got to put a minus 14y there. On the other side here, we got 20y. And already things look a lot nicer, in my opinion. All right? I definitely say they do. So let's see what's going to happen when we finish this thing. We're going to move this minus 14y over to the other side. All right? So we are going to have to put plus 14y. And I'm going to put this like this because I want everybody to be sure you can tell where things are going. Because really the whole idea is we basically get rid of one of these variables when we run the substitution in there. We only have an equation with one variable, which is very easy for us to work with. So I'm getting, you're getting, we're all getting here what? Wow. That much? Because the y's are gone. Over here on the other side, it's easy. 34y. Let's divide both sides by 34. So basically what we are going to end up with is whatever that, hopefully it comes out even. It's got to come out even because either you can't have half a girl, half a boy, that kind of thing, or a third or whatever, a fraction of them. They're either going to make it or they don't. So let's see what happens when we go there. Oh, we've already got 4,760. Let's just make this go quickly. And we got divided by 34. I'm getting 140. I'm glad it came out even. Now, remember, what does that mean? That means what? Well, let's go back and see what it means. That is y. That is your what? Number of girls. All right? So in this case, it looks like we have 140 girls. That's your y. All right? So over here, let's finish this thing off. Make it easy. Make it really easy. We've already established that x equals 340 minus y. Let's bring it right over here from there. Now, what's that going to do for me? It's going to allow me to put that 140 in for y. Now look what happened. We just simply bring this right back up here, And we now have x equaling 200. You say, well, Ernie, that's pretty magical. It really is, and it really is not that bad, but that's the whole idea. When we set this thing in, once we get to the 140, it's easy street, okay? Just 340 minus 140, you're in the ballpark at 200. Now, the big question is, did it satisfy this opening statement we have? So here we go, one more run. 2/5 of what? 2/5 of, what does it say? 2/5 of x, right? So what did our x value we decided is 200? Let's put a 200 right there. On the other side, 4/7 of y, which is 140. There we go. And now it's just good old easy fractions because we got zeros on the ends of everything. Let's see where we're going to go with this. Let me slide it up just a tad. And let's see what we got. We have, and this is to check, okay? 2 times 40 gives us 80 on the left. And on the right side, how about it? 7 goes into 140, get 20 on the right. There's 80 equaling 80. Now, that doesn't tell me there's 80 for an answer. That's just simply a way we check. So if we take 2/5 of the number of, let's go back here, the number of boys, and 4/7 of the number of girls, it works out beautifully. We get 80 on both sides, and that's what we're checking. That uses a check. So your combination here, 140 girls, 240 boys, life is good, all right? Sydney, thank you. Great problem yesterday. She's from Sweetwater, and we love hearing from folks down there in our southern viewing area there, and we appreciate hearing from Sydney today. Speaking of hearing, we want to hear from you guys now, all right? That number is 844-686-2378. We sure do love to hear from you. Makes the show go a lot quicker, a lot rocking, and what have you, and makes our telephone operators enjoy being here too, all right? So let's talk a little more here, and while we're doing that, we will wait for your calls, all right? So come right on in and take care of us, all right? Let's hear from you. Again, that number, 844-686-2378. Now, we've been hitting the calculator a lot today. We're probably going to hit it some more. But let's take a look at this problem and just, first of all, make it easy on ourselves, all right? Some simple arithmetic moments. Some of you thought, wow, after all those X's and Y's, well, I'm glad to have some simple arithmetic. I am too. Let's do a little bit here. And we're all concerned about what's an average for a student to have grades. We tend to add a certain amount of grades together and divide by the number. That's the basic idea. So when we're looking for the average grades here, we're going to take 75, 95, 55, 65, add them up, and divide by 4. Very straightforward, very simple. So writing that down, because we always like to show our work, right? So we'll pick it up, 75 plus 95 plus 55 plus 65. And what we're going to do, we're going to simply divide that by 4. And that's a nice order of operations moment. Because when we have all these additions up on top, we do those first, all right? And that's how we work to find an average. Then we'll do the divide by 4, because it's like a little, you say, well, where's the parenthesis, Ernie? It's like there is a parenthesis. That basically this huge division bar acts just like a parenthesis. It separates the problem in half, all right? So you work the numerator, then work the denominator into it, and let's see where we're going to go. I'm going to use the calculator because they're big numbers. And you're all going, that's a good idea. So we got 75, 95 to add to that. Take another one. How about 55? She did have a rough time, didn't she? And then we had a 65, a little bit back to normal there. Let's see where we end up with the average. Ooh, well, let's first of all get a total. It's going to be 290, and we're going to divide that 290 by 4. So go back in our calculator. That's a nice thing, because when you get here, my friends, you've got 290. You don't have to retype that thing. Just go ahead and do what you're going to do. Hit the divided by. See, it says ANS. That means the answer you had. And you divide by 4. And my goodness, we have an average of 72.5. Now, tests, not bad, but yet probably would like to be better. So evidently this teacher has a deal that allows tests to drop her lowest grade. So how much an increase in her average will that allow? Now we got this still hanging on there, all right? But this time, what do we get to do? We get to send that 55 out the window. So let's see what happens when we send that 55 out the window. Well, you're going to get a smaller total. Everybody's going like, well, that's easy to figure out, Ernie. Yeah, it's true. So let's see. We take the 75 plus the 95, and we will add, what else? That's 65. Say goodbye to the 55, though. That's not going to be a problem. And this time we do have 235. But how many grades are we using this time? Because you're going like, well, the total's less. It certainly is. But this time we're going to divide by 3 because that's how many grades we got. So back to the calculator one more time. And let's divide by 3 and see where it takes us. It takes us quite a bit higher. Looks like about, 78 and a little bit. And it's a repeating 3. So if we were to take and subtract these, pretty straightforward, isn't it? You're gonna gain almost 6 points. Not quite, not quite. Let's go to the calculator since we got some crazy decimal there, and we'll just subtract 72 and a half and see where it takes us. And it takes almost, like I said, almost 6 points, about 5 and a little over 8/10, all right? And then it repeats, repeats, repeats. So the difference, if we take, and I'm going to leave it with just a 3 there, okay? And we'll subtract that 72 and 5/10. That's going to give us roughly about almost 6 points. So test would be a nice improvement. Nice, generous teacher there, always allowing. There's some days you have a bad day, and it's nice to let that go there. So anyway, there you have it, a little bit of a moment there. I have one more thing, by the way. We want you to call, all right? And I know we've kind of kept saying that, but we're going to keep saying it again. Give us a call. It's 844-686-2378. We love it when you call us. It makes the show rock. And, you know, we're getting ready to go into a long Labor Day weekend. So we really would like to hear from someone this afternoon. And so give us a call. We'll take good care of you. Yesterday, we set up a problem, and we did get a call, all right? So maybe we set it up again. We'll get another call. Let's see what's going on with this little problem that we were setting up. And we did get a right triangle drawn. And there is an important point of this right triangle. It is isosceles. We didn't quite get that far yesterday to say, but those isosceles means two sides are congruent. They have to be the legs, by the way. In a right triangle, hypotenuse is always longer than either leg, all right? You can't have a leg and a hypotenuse equaling each other because it doesn't make any sense, all right? And it's just not going to fly. So what we want to do here is, we'll call that A. Call that A because we don't know them. But we do know the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is going to be 20 out here. Now, some of you are looking at going like, ooh, 20, that's a big number. Well, what's going to happen here? Everybody's thinking, you got a right triangle. You've got 2 A's. You only know one side. You only know the hypotenuse. So what are we going to do? We're going to go A squared plus A squared equals 20 squared. Now, some of you are going to think, I've had geometry. I've had pre-calculus. I know what to do on this one because actually this being isosceles means it's a 45, 45, 90. Yes, folks, there are rules for the 45, 45, 90, and we're going to see how close they might be. But keep in mind, what we've got to do is eventually add all 3 pieces together and leave the answer, it said, in simplest radical form. So we're not going to worry about finding decimals. We're going to have some square roots to deal with. So everybody good on that? You ready to go? Let's find them. I have, how about it? 1 plus 1, everybody good on that? 2. And the A squareds are still A squared. They do not change to A to the 4th. Do not add the exponents. Do not. Equals, on the other side, how about it? 20 squared, I'm looking at 400. And we're going to divide by 2. How appropriate. I think I have 2 minutes left, they say. So we're going to divide by 2. And we're going to see A squared equaling to, 200. And at this point, that's what A squared is equal to. We're worried about A. So we're going to come up here. I'm going to rewrite it. A squared equaling to 200. And we're going to take the square root on both sides. Now, the square root of A squared is simply going to give us A. All right? And on the other side, not a perfect square, is it? So let's break it down. How about it? We're going to pick up. You think we're going to pick it up? I think we're going to pick it up. We're going to get 100 times 2. And my goodness, folks, that's going to give us 10 square roots of 2. So we got 10 square roots of 2 here, 10 square roots of 2 here. So we're going to piece all these things together and get what the perimeter is equal to. So the perimeter is, adding those 2 together, you get 20 square roots of 2. And we still have that hypotenuse of 20. Now, dear friends, we're done. You say we're done, Ernie? we are done because we said leave it in simplest radical form. And this square root of 2 is important because you can't hook it up with just a 20 by itself here. Now, if that had another square root of 2, we'd get 40 square roots of 2. But as it is right now, that's your story. Now, if you want to figure out what it is in decimal, you go right ahead and type it in on that calculator. It's been getting a workout today. And say 20 times the square root of 2, add 20 to it, and it will give you a decimal form. But since it asks for simplest radical form, and we are running out of time, I'm letting it go at that. Another thing, the 45, 45, 90, you could have found the A using those formulas, which would be C equals A times the square root of 2. You divide by the square root of 2 into 20, and it would kick you out with 10 roots of 2. And tomorrow, specialized segments. Oh my goodness, more trig, sine, cosine, and tangent. You don't want to miss out on that. And we will see you again next Tuesday because it's Monday's Labor Day.